Hi there, I am Lori Delk.
Hi, I am Catherine Asara Myers. Rah is in the house. How are you, Lori?
I am wonderful, and we are the Gratitude Girls. And while we speak to you tonight, if you have questions, comments, or anything else, you are welcome to post them below this video right in our comment section. We do have a special guest with us on tonight, and I am going to let Catherine introduce her.
Thank you so much, Lori. It's a beautiful evening here in downtown Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and we are around the world. Lori, you're in the U.S., in Columbia, Tennessee, and we have a special guest from Lucerne, Switzerland. So we're on Eastern Time at 9:34. Lori, you're on Central Time at 8:34, and our guest is at European Time at 3:30 a.m. So let me introduce our guest to everyone, and that introduction is to let you know that our guest has specifically woken up to be on our show. So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Muriel Parker.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy that I was actually able to work the technology to join you. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to having this conversation with both of you today.
Thank you so much. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about where you are right now geographically, so our audience and people who are going to be watching later will know a little bit about your location.
Yeah, I'm in Lucerne, Switzerland, which is right in the center of Switzerland. It's in the Swiss-German speaking part of Switzerland, and yeah, there are mountains all around and beautiful lakes. And though I'm actually from Perth in Australia, and so that's a place which has much warmer weather and beaches as well, so very different kind of climate, and I like both of them a lot. And yeah, is that what you wanted to know about Switzerland?
Yes, paint a picture for us. And tell us a little bit about how long have you been in Switzerland?
I've been here now for 2 years. And I'm here because my husband is Swiss, and I have lived here a couple of years ago for a year as well. So yeah, 2 years it is now.
And I just wanted to give you a minute to perhaps wake up and get used to
and calm down.
Yes, exactly. So talking about things like geography and the weather and a moment to get settled a little bit. I really appreciate what you've done to share your story. Lori and I are very thrilled that you are here with us, and maybe what we'll do is we'll ask you a couple of questions, and you can let our audience get the feel of what a wonderful person you are and the things that have gone on in your life. Would you like to share the basis, a bit of your gratitude story with us, please? Are you ready to do that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was thinking a lot about gratitude in the last few days, having this cold coming up. So I have a lot of kind of things that I've been reflecting on to do with gratitude. And so my story, the reason why Catherine found me was because I printed my story online. And yeah, my story is that I last year was last year I went back to I was quite homesick, and I went back to Perth for a holiday, and I had felt a lump in my breast before, and I thought it was probably just, you know, a lump, benign. And I went back to Perth for a 3-week holiday. And then, yeah, I got it checked, and it happened to be malignant, actually. So I had to have an operation. Well, within a week, I was having an operation to remove the lump, and I had already been studying a lot, although I was homesick and I was, sometimes a little depressed. I had been studying a lot about the power of the mind and our energy. So I immediately, when I found out, very soon I started on working on myself. Like, I took myself to the beach every day, and I would walk along saying my affirmations that I was healthy and well. And there was another part of me that also looked on the bright side of things. I was actually kind of grateful that I got to stay longer in Perth, and I ended up staying there for 3 months. So there was always this part of me that was grateful and was things could have been worse. I always saw how, at least this didn't happen, or at least afterwards, I was affirming that the lymph nodes would be clear, and that that the lump was decreasing. And so within that week, the lump did decrease by a centimeter. What I can see on my biopsy and from what I see on the surgery report is that there is a centimeter difference. It did decrease from 3.4 centimeters to 2.4 centimeters. So, yeah, I did everything I could for myself, as well as, getting treatment and seeing other professionals. And so, yeah, that is my story.
Mira, let me ask you a question or two, because someone in the audience might relate to something happening to them. I can't imagine precisely how you felt, but I would imagine that when you talked about your affirmations, that you had something specific. Would you be able to share how you recited that, or what you said, or how you did them, when you did them?
Well, first I went to the beach because that's a place that makes me really happy, and it's a very, like we would say, a high vibrational place. So anywhere in nature could be that place for you. Another way I've heard of people getting in this high vibration is I know one woman who dances around the house first before saying her affirmations, because that always puts her in a really high vibration. So for me, it was to go to the beach and to walk along the beach, and then as I walked, I repeated, for example, my whole body is healthy, and or I would repeat that until, and I would really, like, I wouldn't just say it in my head. Like, I would be feeling it in my body as I walked, and breathing it in. So I would say, my whole body is healthy, and I would give myself time to draw it in, if you know what I mean. If you try it, you may know what I mean. And then I would walk along and keep saying that same affirmation until my mind wandered, and then I would move on to another one, like, my lymph nodes are healthy, and I would say that, oh, my lymph nodes are clear. I would repeat that, and yeah, I did that in that week, and then I continued to do it after the operation as well. So the lymph nodes were clear, and the lump did decrease, and those were the things that I was affirming. And I would do this for, like, the walk would take probably 45 minutes or so, and then probably out of that half an hour I was, repeating affirmations, and it just made me feel really good as well. And yeah, so that is one way that I did that. And then another way that I did it as well was I caught, when I was driving around or walking, and, I would catch myself repeating a negative story in my head, and I would be conscious of it and catch it, and I would change it into a positive story. So that is another way that I handled that.
And also, you met some very wonderful people on this journey.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 or 3 people in particular. Would you like to tell us a little bit about a few of maybe the 3 that we talked about earlier?
Yeah, yeah, there were a lot of people that I met. First, well, I was really grateful for my surgeon because he was a very calm person, and I thought that was very important because I did go and see someone else, and he was not, he was like freaking out, so I didn't want to, I didn't feel like being handled by him. So I was firstly grateful for my surgeon being such a calm man, and then, yeah, I mean, I was always looking for. I firstly found that the conventional medicine, the treatment offered, was not to my satisfaction. So I looked for, different professionals to help me. So um, 2 that I've met here in Lucerne when I came back were, one was my acupuncturist and Chinese medical doctor, so she provided a lot of support for me, and also, she was always telling me that I just have to be in my body and be happy and get out of my head and go out and even and go out in nature, in the mountains, and another thing that she, like, would prescribe sledding for me as a kind of extra to my treatment. So that was one person that I met who was really supportive. And then another person I met here in Lucerne too. It wasn't easy because I didn't know the system, and I didn't have any doctor here. I was very healthy. I'd never been to the doctor here. And so I was looking for someone who was not just was going to tell me the same thing that everyone else was telling me. So I went, I eventually, made the right phone call. I made, a few phone calls and stumbled across a doctor who had worked in a treatment clinic that I had wanted to go to, and he had worked there for 10 years, and he was actually in Lucerne, so he was another person that I met who was really helpful. And then also I went to a cancer support centre in West Australia, and there was a whole group of people and a counsellor, and we could all share our stories together and get support on, because in this process the hardest thing is the decision making. You have to make some really big decisions, and often you can go against what you truly are feeling inside in your gut because people are telling you that you should do a certain thing. So that it's really important to have support in this situation, and people who will support you no matter what.
So tell me a little bit about that process. You have a gut feeling and people are telling you something else, and you follow your gut. Is that correct?
Yes, the actual story was that I wanted to, they immediately wanted me to have chemotherapy, and the first 4 doctors wanted me to have chemotherapy and gave me a printout of, these are my statistics. And for me, and it was like in case it spreads. It wasn't like it had spread. It was in case, we don't know, like in case it spreads. And for me, I felt it wasn't enough, just in case, to have chemotherapy. So that was why I had a kind of, it was like it is a feeling in your gut, and it's also, it's just that it's a feeling, and it's also, there's something inside of you that's telling you it's not right. It was telling me that it was not right for me. And also I had, I had been following different people who had had cancer, following on Instagram or on online, who had had cancer and who had cured themselves or had managed their situation the more on a more natural path. So yeah, for me, it's that feeling, and then afterwards, um, usually I go into like a violent reaction that I don't want anything to do with that, and then after crying or going through that, I start looking again for what other way there could be and what other people could help me. So that's it's like it's a pendulum swing, but then I get back to the middle again through looking for people to help me. You know what I mean?
Thank you for sharing that. Is there a message that you would be able to give to, I guess we'll talk a woman or a man battling with making a decision in that process? Is there something that helped you to focus, that helped you to ground yourself to get through that decision-making process?
Yes. I mean, there are different things that you can do, like going for a walk and just, usually you could go for a walk and you come back in and your perspective has changed. So that would be one way that I would get more in touch with myself. Another way is through journaling, just sitting at my desk and really, or journaling like what I really desire. And then another way is through, a lot of people say meditation, they get answers in meditation. Another way, yeah, doing something with your body. I find like even doing yoga or dancing or any kind of physical activity that you love. I find a lot of answers come during that process. Or talking to people. That's another. You talk to people and then you sit and make your own decision. And then also, I did a lot of like research as well. So I would read different books and from people's personal story as well as more scientific things. So yeah, it's all you're gathering all the information, and then it's really trusting yourself to make the right decision and getting the support.
And can you tell us a little bit about your journaling, because that's something that you have a passion for?
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Yeah, I need to journal to feel normal, or I need to journal to know what I think as well. And I try to do it every morning. I don't do it every morning, but I try to. I probably do it 5 mornings a week. And sometimes I go through different stages of what I journal about. But when I was younger, I used to be a lot more negative in my journal. Like everything I wanted to complain about, I would write about in there. So when I reread it, I'm like, oh my God. But then I started to, I don't know how long ago, a year ago or so, I was more, no, even longer than that, into, I would write all the things I'm thankful for. Another practice was writing. I went through a stage of writing about feel-good moments from the day before. So things that had happened or little moments that had made me feel good, I would write about it there. And I would write 5 per day.
Is that a magic number?
I don't know. I think where I had read it, 5 in numerology is about change. So that is something I learned recently, but I didn't choose it for that number. I like odd numbers. That I would always. It would only be 3 or 5 or 7. So yeah, that's just my taste. But another thing for journaling, sometimes I will just write out, how I'm feeling, or describing a situation. And then other times, yeah, like I said, like I'll write, you know, thank you for this, thank you for that, and be really grateful in my journal as well. And then something I have done before and I started doing again recently is I'll write for the day I'll answer 3 questions. The first is how do I desire to feel today? And then I don't do, you know, whatever comes, I write it down. So you don't have to overthink it.
Right.
And then the second question is what do I desire to accomplish today? So write something down, you know, not a list of 10 things, but just, you know, 1 to 3 things that you desire to accomplish. And then the third is what do I desire to enjoy today? So that is setting your intention for the day. And yeah, that's getting you back to these are all ways to tap into your intuition as well.
Yes, and tell us a little bit about the support that you received from your family and your husband.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't have gone through this without my parents because I was back home in Australia and my husband was still in Switzerland at that time. He's a teacher, so he was there like for the first 2 months. I was in Australia by myself with my parents and all my family and friends, so I felt really supported. My mum always wants to come everywhere with me to every appointment. So that, yeah, I didn't have that here in Switzerland, and I really appreciated it there in Perth. And, you know, just to sit in the waiting room with me, or even if it was not a long appointment, then, yeah, I always had that. And, yeah, all my family, friends have been very supportive. I didn't tell a lot of people. It's only recently when, Catherine, you saw that article that I published that some people would have found out for the first time. I kept it to quite a close group of family and friends because I didn't want everyone to talk to me about it. I wanted to deal with it. I wanted to deal with it in a positive way. And so that's why I kept it private. And then with my husband, yeah, he's been my support here in Switzerland, and he came out to Australia too for a month, and yeah, he's been, you know, in this process as well. When I had to decide to have radiotherapy or not, and when to have it, he was told me to go and sit at my desk and make the decision for myself, because that, I think for me, that's the most important thing. No matter what treatment you get, you should believe in it. Whether it's conventional, you might go all the way conventional, all the way natural, or a bit of both, but it should be, you know, there should be no conflict inside of you. You should support it 100%, whatever you decide to do. So that, I think, is about life as well, in your decisions that you make, that, you know, there should be, you should stand by yourself in making those decisions.
That's a great statement. Stand by yourself when you make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Really good statement. Thank you so much again for sharing. And I know that you have a journey that you're on right now, and you write, correct?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening now in your life at this moment?
Yes, I have become a life coach, a transformational coach. So I am also a writer. As you said, I had this dream to finish writing. I mean, I wanted to write a novel. I think a lot of people want to write a book in their life. So I loved language. I do love language, and I started writing 7 years ago, a novel, and I recently finished it. So it took me 7 years, and I'm really proud of the level of determination and persistence that it's taken. But also, it's taught me a lot about, you know, doing, you know, yeah, basically about persistence, doing a little every day, or in your schedule, scheduling in maybe 4 times a week to do this, and then it pays off after time, and you learn a lot along the way. So that's one thing that I'm really proud of, and that was, for me, that was part of the reason why I was depressed last year, was because I was working full time and I was not able to continue with this creative pursuit. So that kind of like unfulfilled dream was causing a lot of conflict inside of me as well. So yeah, I really see the importance of following your heart and finishing what you started, so that you can be peaceful, because now I feel peaceful. Um, so now I have become a transformational coach, and I am my desire is to coach other women who have been through a health crisis like breast cancer and are now ready to move on. They have to transform their toxic thoughts and into transform their fears into faith, and to move on with the next stage of their life. Because I find that once you've had treatment, then it's kind of like, oh, you're kind of left by yourself. You could, I mean, maybe you have a support group or a supportive family, but there is, you know, what do you do next? Do you just hope that it doesn't come back? There's actually a lot of techniques and ways that you can, you know, transform your life in order to help. I'm not saying, you know, this is the only thing that will work or anything, but in order to help you to avoid recurrence, because there is always a lesson in it. And have you learned that lesson? Have you changed your life as you needed to? And also support is really important. So the fact that I can coach women over Skype means that you can be anywhere, and you can be getting that support. For me, coming back to Switzerland, I couldn't find in my area a support group that was English speaking. Yeah, that's why the need for support was even more emphasized, and the fact that it can be over Skype is a real advantage.
Or Google Hangout.
Oh, Google Hangout, yeah.
Right. Can you tell us the name of your book, please?
The book is called Wanderlust, as in not wander, but wonder. And yeah, it is set in Lucerne, and it's about a girl who believes in perfection and learns not to. Basically, that's the story. So it is very much about how we kind of idolize things in our society today, like artists and celebrities, and she is someone who does that and feels that her life is less because of it, and that she has to be someone to exist. So she learns that, you know, everything that appears to be perfect on the outside isn't, and yeah, that's the basic story.
And in terms of how the book can be distributed and purchased, is it what level? Where is it at right now? Is it able to be purchased?
No, I am. I still want to get a couple of people to read it before I continue. Then I will either, I mean, I am going to try and get a traditional publisher, and then otherwise I will put it through Amazon or something like that. And I have a website, so it will come up on my website when that is happening.
Can you tell us your website, please?
Yes, sure. It's www.wanderlust, Mirelle, MIREILLE, MirelleParker.com.
So as your name appears on the promotional material that we have on gratitudegirls.com, so it's your name. That's fantastic. Is there someone in particular throughout your journey that you would like to say something to, whether they can hear you at this moment or not, someone that you would like to show your gratitude with? Maybe that you did or that you hadn't, someone that you'd like to share with on the show?
Oh, that's a hard question because there's a lot of people. Let me see. I would love to share my gratitude to my parents because they're always so supportive of what I do, and like they're probably watching this Google Hangout right now as well in Australia. So I feel like I want to express my gratitude to them. Yeah, I feel safe to go out in the world and to follow my dreams. Because I always have a safe place to go back to. If anything, if things don't work out, I know I can always go back to them, and that is so important. And I know that not everyone has that in the world, so I'm really grateful for them. I feel emotional.
Thank you. So if your parents are watching, let's say a special hi to them. What are their names?
Jim and Marguerite.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Marguerite. And what time would it be where they are right now?
It would be 9:30 a.m. or when we started. So now it was 5 past 10. It would be there in the morning.
So look at how many time zones we have right now on this show. Look what everybody would do to listen to you. Let me ask you another question about your writing. Where do you, and I read an article that you wrote, and how beautiful and touching it is, obviously, because here we are as a result of that, right?
Yes.
We met over your writing, your skills, and your passion. What's next for you?
With my writing?
Yes.
I am definitely going to finish what I started with the novel, and then what's next for me? I write on my. I had started a blog from when I couldn't work on my novel, and I got a lot of fulfillment out of that. Actually having someone read your work. And then now my website is new, and I will be continuing to post articles weekly there. So I find that a really creative outlet as well. It's a process of writing and then crafting and evoking emotion as well. So yeah, I find that to be creatively satisfying to me. And so yeah, I will be posting their weekly articles. And for now, that's what I'm doing.
And the article that I read, you had written, it was freelance story from MetaMess.
Yes.
So can you tell us about that? Since that's how we met, we can pay tribute to Danielle and MetaMess.
Yeah. Yeah, I posted I had put on my website a version of that story, a shorter version, and then I had posted it on a few pages around Facebook, and one of them was Women Inspiring Women, and from there she saw this story, and asked me if I would extend it so that I was actually telling the readers, giving them some more tips, some practical tips that they could also apply to their life. So that's what I did, I, yeah, I did that for her article for Madame S. And yeah, and then you read it, and you contacted me. So it's so, I mean, it's called the internet. It is so, we're all interconnected, and we get opportunities through other people. So I've always found that when I'm traveling, just, really being open and really putting yourself out there. If I hadn't posted that original story, Danielle wouldn't have found me. If Danielle hadn't posted my story on Madame S, you wouldn't have found me, and then we wouldn't have been having this conversation. So it's, we're all helping each other, and yeah, you never know what great surprises are just around the corner. Some days you feel, this is how I feel as a, working from home. Some days you feel like nothing is happening. And then the next day can be, your life can change. So that's exciting, and it's something to remember for those times when it does feel that nothing's happening. You have to keep taking action, keep, trying different things, because that's how things work out.
Yes, and you're right. You never know, especially in the case of you writing a story, you never know what's going to happen next in the business that you're in now.
Yes.
You reach people internationally, and we did not let our time zones get in our way.
No. And I feel very energetic now after having this conversation with you. So.
Well, we've so been looking forward to it. And when there's a will, there's a way, right? We were not letting anything get in the way, no matter what tonight. we were going to get you on this show, no matter what we had to do. And it's funny because it's the things that happen up until the very minute, right? We said hello and how are you, and what we want to do is we want to be together, and that desire is our driving force.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so lovely to have this conversation with you.
It's so lovely to have this conversation with you, especially. I mean, we've talked to our audience and to our people in our network, and those who can be watching live will, and those who can't will be watching the recording. But what I'm thinking is perhaps we could have some update from you. Because once someone watches the show, perhaps there's a way that you can communicate with us and let us know how you're doing, not just with Lori and myself, but perhaps you can post something, whether you'd like to use a post on our Facebook or perhaps on gratitudegirls.com, so we can follow, and our audience can follow what's going on and start to develop a relationship. So it's possible to start a relationship online. It's possible to take that relationship, well, we still are online, and take it to the next step. And it's what we do after. It's how we follow up, right? It's how we follow each other and the interests that we develop in our conversations, and what we decide to do with them. We certainly I want to see what's happening with your book. I'm sure Lori does too. We're so excited to hear about things that are developing, and to know that we're at this stage in a relationship where it's in the process. Imagine the day that everything is done. You can come back and you can show us your book, and you can share it, right?
Yes. That will be an exciting day.
That will be an exciting day. So let's put that out there, that when your book is ready, you can let us know and contact us, and we can have a follow-up with our audience.
Sure. I will definitely keep you posted, and keep in touch with your audience as well.
Yes, thank you so much. It's for our audience, of course, and I'm saying that because I know that we will be in touch. Are there any questions? Is there anything that you would like to ask Lori or I?
Do you, how about you guys? Do you journal?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a process?
Yes, I do. You want me to share it?
Okay.
Sure. Well, I am an early riser, so I'll keep it short. I get up early and I write every day.
Mm-hmm.
And between the hours of 6 and 7, 6:30 and 7:30, I'm writing. And throughout the course of the day, I have a very pretty pink book that I take everywhere with me. And throughout the course of the day, I am writing in that constantly. Now, I'm thinking I'm almost at the end of that pink book. I'm going to have to get another one. But for me, it's always about putting that thought down. I don't necessarily draw pictures. I write my thoughts. So it's an ongoing process for me. I need to do that. My hands have to be taking the words from my mind, and I have to be seeing them and feeling them. And I have another process that I take one step further, but it does always start for me first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Lori?
I do as well. I have a black book, but I have a blingy pen. Yes, and I do the number 5 as well. I'm a night owl, so I do my writing at night. Before I go to bed every night, I get out my book and I lay down and I think about my day and I write a minimum of 5 things that I'm grateful for. And then I also just write whatever I feel like writing at the time, whatever I want to think about or talk to myself about or whatever. But I always, that's my key number is 5 things. I write 5 things throughout the day of things that I can be grateful for.
We have another thing that we do in our family. We'll say, what was the best thing that happened to you today?
Mm-hmm.
So it might be over a supper time, dinner time, a meal time, and we share. My husband and I share what was the best thing, and we usually look at each other and say it has to be about us. But we, aside from that, we'll think about that, and that person comes to mind because say something happened, at 7 o'clock in the morning, and maybe we just move on with our day, right? Because we're so busy. But it gives us a chance to revisit that moment. And not just to have that moment to myself, but to revisit it and bring that out in the air, bring it out in the open. So it brings it back to us, right? And we get to relive some of those moments. So we like to verbalize it as well. And it's fun. It's fun because that person ends up at our dinner table with us.
Right.
Yeah.
So Marielle, I have a question for you. I've been on 3 different conference calls today with different leaders and people, and you are the 3rd one. And all 3 calls had the same key phrase, today. So it's obviously something I must need to hear today.
Okay.
So what you said was transform your fears into faith. You want to go into that a little bit for me, since obviously I'm supposed to hear that phrase today?
Yeah, I mean, for me, having faith is being grateful for things before they have happened. So that was also my process of gratitude too, was to say, thank you that my lymph nodes are clear. Thank you that my whole body is healthy. So that is one way that, as you're going about the day, there are, I find that even now this still happens, and it will be a lifelong thing, because that's our ego mind. As you're going about the day, you'll have these annoying thoughts come into your head, or maybe you start to tell yourself a story, and it creates, brings up a fear, and then yeah, it's about catching that. It's about being conscious to catch it and to transform it into a positive thought, and that is the faith. Like having faith that that you are on a path, and it's a journey, it's a process, and that things are working out for you. It just might not be that today it looks like that, but you know, you probably had that experience where you look back and you're like, oh, that's why that happened. And that, you know, to keep that in mind, that things that look bad, like for me, you know, having cancer, like a lot of people were like, oh, you know, poor you, or, you know, feeling sorry for me. But there's obviously a bigger reason for it, because it was not in my family history or anything like that. So there's obviously more that I'm going to experience, and yeah, we all have this. We all have things that don't, you know, don't look like they're positive at first, but then, you know, we learn from them and we grow from them, and it's having that faith, and also a lot of, you know, when you compare yourself to other people and what their, you know, journey that they're on, then you can get quite maybe despondent, or, you know, it can create as well some, you know, negative feelings within you too. So it's really being, you know, it's really being really present and really trusting that this is the right way for you. That's what I would say. I don't know if that answers your question, or is there something else that you wanted to ask about that?
Yes, no, that's wonderful. Yes, I just thought, oh, I have to touch on that because that was good. When you said that, I had to write it down. It was the third time I've heard it today. So.
Okay, wow.
So transforming fears into faith,
and
trusting.
Trusting and like looking for the signs, you know, that you're being guided. That's really, that I think that is when you're expressing gratitude, or you know, in your journal noting these things down, then that is really recording those significant moments where you can see, you know, all the positivity that surrounds you.
Yes, you know, I was thinking, Lori and Miro, you know how often we're online and we're typing and we're saying, you know, ciao and see you later. And I was thinking, I would like to use a new signature, and I would like that to be positively, oh my gosh, positively, I can't say the word, but you know what I mean? Yours. And then my name.
Okay, sure.
I just think, you know, we're writing sometimes warm regards and best regards and all the best, and I've just seen that. I've seen it so many times. But you're right about being positive.
Yeah. So do it.
That's what I'm going to do. Positively, I'm going to write it because saying it's a tongue twister.
Positively.
Positively yours. And because of what we're saying here tonight, that's it. I made my decision. That's my new way of signing off with someone so that they can feel that. It's important that they feel that we are positive.
Yeah, people love to be around other positive people.
Because it's a real easy thing to clear a room when we bring a frown into the room, right?
Yeah. And I mean, with that as well, like say in what I experienced too was, of course, you have to feel your feelings too, you know, like it's not about putting on a happy face. It is you know, you're taking the time for yourself. And so, yeah, in journaling, sometimes I do write the things that, you know, that I want to get off my chest, but I still make a point to look for the things, so the positive things as well. One way is sometimes I just say, at least, you know, at least that didn't happen. So there's always, you know, you're always better off than it could have been, even in a hard time. That can be one way to express gratitude, to find the, you know, positive in the negative. So, yeah. Yeah, really getting in touch with your feelings and feeling them is something you have to go through as well.
I also really relate to what you were saying about taking a walk. I know that if I don't get outside and if my left foot and right foot don't engage with that movement for like an hour, I feel like something is not right. Mm-hmm. I need to take a walk. It's how I think. It's how my body just takes a change and it stops what it's doing and it absorbs. Maybe I need to have heat from the outside, or I need to have the sun because I enjoy being outside and enjoy. So it recharges me. So when you were talking about your walk on the beach, I was thinking, yes, I totally know what it feels like. If I do not walk an hour minimum, I really do feel like something's not right. Like what could I have possibly done in 24 hours that I couldn't take a walk? What could have been so important?
Yeah, it changes your perspective and just gets you. I think a change of scene changes your perspective on things. So clears your mind, gets your blood moving, and gets you more into your body rather than into your head. So allows you to be really present as well if you're really observing what's around you. It can be a kind of mindfulness practice too.
I know that Lori does a lot of activity during the day, and she's in a lot of different places. And I kind of know that about you, Lori, and because you're in so many different places, so you're active too. But there must be those moments in between going from one event or one meeting or appointment to the other where you get to have that moment to yourself, and you get to think about yourself, right, and what you need at the moment, whether it's food or a quiet moment or a walk or a stretch or whatever. I'm sure you give that to yourself.
Right, yes. Well, that is one of the things that I did start doing just a couple months ago, was making sure that I have an hour a day, and I've actually pumped that up to, most of the time, 2 hours a day of walking in the mornings, just to take that time for myself to think and get things done while I'm on the treadmill. I do it at home, but I do like to walk outside, but I still have my husband's voice that tells me that I don't need to walk outside if I don't have other safety male species with me. So I walk in the comfort of my home. But yeah, it's amazing that when, like, even just the last couple weeks, I've been just really busy with lots of different meetings and things to do, and go every few minutes, and hadn't walked, you know, specifically that time, and so I started that back yesterday again, and it's just amazing that even when I think, you know, oh, I don't have time to take that walk for an hour because I've got this and this and this and this to do. But then when you take the time to do it and you do that for yourself and have that time to think, and, you know, because there's not a whole lot more you can do while you're walking anyway, other than think and get with yourself, you know, and it makes you feel so much better, and then you feel better throughout the whole entire day too, that you took that time. So, and I think a lot of times us as women too, a lot of times we think about we have to do for everybody else. Women are caregivers, right? And so we're always taking care of everybody else. And I know I struggled with that for a long time of I need to take that time for me to take care of me, because otherwise I'm not going to be here to take care of everybody else, right?
Yeah. That's important. I think there is always so much to do in a day, and we have to make the time, because if we just wait for it, it's not going to just appear like a prize on the horizon or anything. So yeah, I totally relate to that feeling like there's so much more to do, but taking that time for yourself, yeah.
Well, you know what I did? I'm looking at the time, but maybe I can just share this. I made a trade. I thought, because I like to walk 1 to 2 hours a day too, and
Wow.
it's a commitment. So I thought, if I'm going to walk 1 to 2 hours a day, there's something else that I'm not going to do. So most of the time I gave up putting on makeup, because that took an awful lot of time.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, I want to walk. I just won't wear makeup. Simple. And if I can't do it in 5 minutes, I'm not doing it. So I was spending an awful lot of time doing this, which was not really exercise, compared to my whole body moving. I think it's an excellent trade-off. So that's how I justified in my mind, how can I take an hour or two? And a 2-hour walk feels great. Like afterwards, I really feel it. I feel it. But so for me, I made a compromise. And maybe I didn't spend an hour a day putting on my makeup. I'm sure I haven't done that. But it just gave me the time. I figured out that I could spare it by just consciously not doing something else, and not sleeping and not eating. So
Yeah.
that wouldn't have.
Wow, 2 hours. That's an achievement.
It's a big commitment, right, Lori? Like you're putting an hour and 2 hours aside. And when we were together, like we were walking, Lori and I were, last month, we were together in Salt Lake City. I think we walked 3.5 hours or so. I don't even remember. It's such a funny story. We just walked for so long, it was ridiculous. That's a great day, huh? When you can just get out there and just keep walking, and it doesn't matter what time it is.
Yeah, that's nice to walk with friends as well.
Yes, it is. So we definitely are big fans of getting outside and walking. And I was connecting to what you were saying when you said that. I really appreciate you being here with us. Thank you so very, very much. I don't know if you have anything else that you would like to share with our audience. I would certainly like to give you the time, but I do realize the time of day that it is for you. And you've been so gracious, and we're so grateful that you're here. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we wrap up the show?
Yeah, I would just like to thank you, Catherine and Laurie, for starting these Gratitude Girls and devoting your time to promoting more gratitude in the world. And it's so important what you're sharing with your viewers and encouraging. And yeah, I'm really grateful that you asked me, Catherine, and that I got to experience this. And I will definitely be watching more of the Gratitude Girls in the future and keeping in touch with the viewers as well. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We really do appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. I know that we can do this for probably another hour. Maybe we should pick another time of day where it's better for you. The three of us can just hang out. Can we do that one time? The three of us will just hang out. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll speak to our viewers who are watching right now. And if you're having a good time watching, we certainly are having a good time talking to Muriel, and I'm sure you would like to know a little bit more about her, so please visit her website. Watch what Gratitude Girls posts have. We will be posting about Muriel as well as she will about herself. So I'd like to say thank you to everyone. We're looking to feature your story on Gratitude Girls in our show in the future. We're booking for future shows in 2014. Please keep sending your stories. Please keep writing your stories. We find great people in this world as you find us. So we can decide whose story and whose life we will feature next right here on Gratitude Girls. So Lori, if someone has a story that they want to share with us, can you please tell our audience how they can do that?
Absolutely. You can send us your gratitude stories right on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/gratitudegirls, and we'll let you know when your story can be featured. Also, for Muriel's story, you can go to our website at gratitudegirls.com, and we will update that page. You can watch the recorded show, as well as we'll update that page with the direct link to her website, so you can follow her and keep in touch with her and see when her book is announced, because I would love to read it as well.
Yeah, thank you.
You are welcome. And so we will see everybody right here, same place, same channel, next month, the fourth Tuesday of every month, 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, 7:30 Mountain, and 6:30 Pacific. Thank you so much for joining us. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.